I got no factors or multiples, no I don't. I'm kinda lost, I don't know what to do. Alright, personally, I can help you with that. Last video, we reviewed the 3 ways that you can find or add fractions. First one, same denominator, keep the denominator. Add the tops. This is the ultimate goal. At the end of all of the other situations, we are going to end up with the same denominators. You just got to know, add the tops only. If you go 7 plus 7 equals 14, you've just completely changed that whole operation. The last video we looked at how to use factors and multiples to find an equivalent fraction, or your LCD, which stands for lowest common denominator. However, the 3, look, it even says no, not so much fun. This one, it's not that much harder, it's just a few more steps. Here's our big rule. When you do the bottom, you do to the top. 2 different ways to do adding of fractions. First one is horizontal, where we make these pretty rainbows to give us the balance. Pretty rainbows. Diddle-doo, diddle-doo. The other one, which is actually my preferred method, it's an older method, you won't see this very many places, is stacked. So you can see my first fraction is right here. My second fraction is below. Just involves you using your mind to see things a little differently. All right, not fractions or multiples. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways again. And I would encourage you to play around with them. The first one I'm going to show you is how to do it stacked. Second one is using a very different, wow, my camera's in and out of focus here. Hold on. There we go. Is using the rule of 4, which is from Matthew C. curriculum. All right, let's take a look at 2 fractions that have not the same denominator. I like the blue felt, makes me happy. So we're gonna go 3 over 7 plus 1 over 3 equals. Now, if we had factors or multiples, it's pretty easy to find your lowest common denominator. What this really means is it's the first number that both 7 and 3 go into. If you need to use multiplication table, you can grab one. You can. So a couple different ways to look at this. So I have the number 7, which is my first denominator, and I have 3. So if I look at 7 and I go across, I get 7. Oh, come on, focus in. I'm sorry, that's so blurry. That's unfortunate. Oh, almost. Wait for it. Well, we get 7, 14, 21. Well, I know 3 doesn't go into 7, does not go into 14, but it does go into 21. And look at this. How interesting is this? If we actually look where 7 and 13 meet, they meet right at 21. So look at 3. We get 3, 6, 9, 12. 7 does not go into 12, 15, 18, 21. That's the first one. Okay, so what we can actually do is that if you need to find a common denominator of numbers up to 12, by the way, you can get these in 20 by 20, might be beneficial for some of you, you can use your multiplication table to find that. If you know your math facts really quickly, this becomes a little more, it comes faster for you. That's why knowing those times tables is so beneficial. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 21 because that's what my handy dandy multiplication table shows me. As soon as I have my lowest common denominator, I'm going to put it in my answer. And I don't have to think about it much anymore. Now, how did we balance before? Well, we need to find out how many times 7 goes into 21. Because of my times table, I know this was times 3. So now what I do to the bottom, I do to the top. Now, take out your calculator. Try this. You might have to pause the video. Go 3 divided by 7. It equals. It's going to give you a number, 0 point something. clear that out, and go 9 divided by 21. Diddly-doo, diddly-doo, diddly-doo. It's magic! Isn't that awesome? That's what an equivalent fraction is, right? The equivalent fraction is a fraction that gives you the same number. Like well, whatever, won't talk about that now. At the bottom, 3 to 21 gives me times by 7. 7 times 3 is 21. Well, what I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 1 times 7, 7. 7 plus 9 is 16. Can I reduce it? Well, I know 3, what goes in? Well, let's try it. Let's take a look. What goes into 21? 21, 21, 21. 7 goes into 21. Anything in 16 go into 21? I would actually use your colored sheet for that one. I know 3, does 3 go in to 16? 3, 6, huh. If you can find it, you might get some free homework. Okay, so what we have here is 16 over 21. That's it. Let's do one more. Okay, make this one a little harder. 4/11 plus 3 over 4. Again, if you want to challenge yourself, see if you understand, stop the video, see if you can come up with an answer. Welcome back. We have 4 and 11. The first number where they're going to meet is actually 44. You can use your multiplication table. 4 to 11. 4 to 11 gives me 44. So we put 44 in as my denominator. So what we actually have to do, why this is so much longer, is that we have to find equivalent fractions for both fractions. When we did our stacked with factors and multiples, see how this one was times by 1? So you only actually have to set one equivalent fraction when one is a factor of the other. But in this one, we got to do it to both. Focus. Awesome. So here, 11 times 4 gives me 44. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. It's correct. Memorize that. You need that. 3 times 11 gives me 44. 4 times 11 gives me 44. 3 times 11 gives me 33. Okay, now this one's going to be interesting because I'm going to have 16 plus 33 gives me 9. Tricky. This gives me 49. I said we wouldn't have any mixed fractions or improper fractions, but we do. So, have to convert it, guys. I can't leave it like that. My math skills don't allow me to. If I take 44 out of 49, that gives me 1 whole. So that means I'm minusing 44 from the top. Well, 4 to 9, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that gives me 5 left over, 5 44ths. There you go, little adventure. Some of you will understand that, some of you won't, but that's okay. So here, balance each equation. Your answer will be add the top two. So now, look, do I have the same denominator? 44, 44? Perfect. Top drawer. Just add the 2 at the top and you're good to go. If you like that, you don't even have to watch this next one. But I'm going to do the exact same problems using a really slick system called the rule of 4. So you'll notice how this is more of a vertical, horizontal layout. So first thing we're going to do is put a little box around it and put a tail. Little robot. Okay, you see the little plus sign? It's like his little nose or his mouth, whatever you want to look at there. So the rule of 4 says that we can do this by multiplying, just like we did here. 4 times 4 was a multiplication. 3 times 11 was a multiplication. You're going to see this exact same setup, but with different kind of technique. So the very first thing I do is I'm going to multiply my denominator by my denominator. 7 times 3 is 21. Now the second thing is I multiply backwards. So see the arrows, they point to where you're going. That gives me 21. Okay, nothing new there, 7 times 3. Now, I'm going to cross for my third one. 7 times 1. Hey, look at that. Shows up here. So we're balancing these two fractions so they have the same denominator. 7 times 1 is 7. No, 7 times 3. No, confused myself. 7 times 1, this is step 3. 7 times 1 is 7. The number 4 is I do the other cross. 3 times 3 is 9. So what I have in here is I put a little plus. If you want to make it even easier, this is what I do. 7 plus 3, what does that give me? It gives me 16. Okay? And the bottom is 21. So this is what it's out of. So my answer becomes 16 over 21. If this was a subtraction, all you would do is go 9 minus 7, and you'd get the same, you'd get the right answer. Okay, let's do the other one as well. So 4 over 11 plus 3 over 4. Box it. Again, the math is identical. I prefer this because I find it, I don't have to think as much as I do over here. So we go 1. 1 gives me 44. 2 gives me 44. 11 times 3 gives me 33. 4 times 4 gives me 16. All right, I get 16 plus 33. The answer is going to be 49 over my common denominator. And we know that's going to be 1 and 5/44. Rule of 4, stacked. You choose which one you want to do. Just so you know, as a quick side note, you can also, well, that's going to be weird. Let's do the same one. So what was that? 3 over 7 and 1 over 3. 3 over 7 plus 1 over 3. If you really like this thing we did before, you can still use it. 7 goes into 21 3 times. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 3 goes into 21 times 7. 1 times 7 gives me 7. I'm back to 16 over 21. So the whole thing here is that fractions, you need to find a system that you'll remember how to do it. All right? Good luck with that. I hope that helps, and we'll see you next week.